How old is OJ Simpson? What's his net worth? When did he get out on parole, and how was Robert Kardashian involved in his trial for murder? OJ Simpson was recently granted parole after spending nearly 9 years in prison for armed robbery, successfully making his case for freedom in a nationally televised hearing. Has now been released from prison, but how much is the disgraced former NFL icon worth now? What happened in the trial of the century, and how was Robert Kardashian involved? Officially known as the people of the state of California v. Orenthal James Simpson, it is better known as the OJ Simpson trial, in which he was famously acquitted. Who was OJ Simpson? OJ Simpson was born in 1947 in California. He is now 70 years old. OJ gained fame as an American football star and, later, as an actor. He became the NFL's fastest player to gain 1,000 rushing yards in a season and the fastest player to gain 2,000 rushing yards in a season. The running back gained the nickname Juice as a play on OJ due to his power on the field. Simpson was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1985. He married Nicole Brown 5 years after retiring from the sport in 1985. They had 2 children together, Sydney Brooke and Justin Ryan. Their marriage lasted 7 years, during which Simpson was investigated by police for domestic violence a number of times and pleaded no contest to spousal abuse in 1989. Brown filed for divorce in February 1992, citing irreconcilable differences. The trial was widely reported on and was watched by millions of people captivated by the events and evidence. What's his net worth? Simpson still owes tens of millions of dollars following a 1997 civil lawsuit which found him liable for the wrongful deaths of his ex-wife Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman, Time magazine reports. But he does have pensions which may pay out more than $25,000 per month and aren't subject to seizure by creditors. It is unclear what Simpson's net worth is, with figures ranging from $250,000 to $3 million. In the height of his fame, Simpson was worth the equivalent of $18 million in today's money. Who were Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman? On June 13, 1994, Nicole Brown and a friend, Ronald Goldman, were found dead outside Brown's home in the Brentwood area of Los Angeles. Brown had been stabbed multiple times in the head and neck, and had defensive wounds on her hands. Both had been dead for about 2 hours before they were found at 12:10 a.m. A single bloody glove was discovered at the scene. Detectives went to Simpson's home to tell him of his ex-wife's death and found a white Ford Bronco with blood in and on it. He was not there, having taken a flight to Chicago late the previous night. Nicole Brown had been stabbed multiple times in the head and neck, and had defensive wounds on her hands. A second bloody glove was then found on the premises, which was later linked to the first glove found at the murder scene, with blood from both victims. Police eventually ordered Simpson to surrender by 11 a.m. on July 17. But instead of giving himself up, the celebrated NFL running back fled in another white Bronco, driven by his friend Al Cowlings. The resulting police car chase was nationally televised and watched by around 95 million Americans, making it the highest-rated basic cable event of the year. Following the low-speed chase, Simpson had a brief standoff with police in which he held a gun to his head before giving himself up. Along with the firearm, the star also had his passport, $9,000 in cash and a fake goatee and mustache in his possession. Dubbed the trial of the century, Simpson's murder trial began on January 24, 1995 and dominated the American news agenda until the verdict on October 1995. When asked how he would plead to the two murder charges, he broke courtroom practice and said, "Absolutely, 100%, not guilty." Simpson was acquitted of the murders by a jury at 10 a.m. on October 3, 1995. Throughout the trial, he was supported by his friend and lawyer Robert Kardashian, the father of Kim, Khloe and Kourtney Kardashian. In post-trial interviews with the jurors, a few said they believed he did commit the murders, but the prosecution had failed to prove their case. In 1997, the parents of Goldman brought a civil lawsuit against Simpson for wrongful death. The jury awarded Brown and Simpson's children $12.6 million from their father as recipients of their mother's estate. The victims' families were awarded $33.5 million in compensatory and punitive damages, therefore finding Simpson responsible for the murders. The prosecution argued Ronald Goldman arrived at Brown's house while she was being attacked, and was also stabbed with a knife. When did OJ Simpson get out on parole? In September 2007, Simpson was arrested in Las Vegas, Nevada, and charged with numerous felonies, including armed robbery and kidnapping, after a group of men led by him entered a room at the Palace Station Hotel Casino and took sports memorabilia at gunpoint. In 2008, he was convicted and sentenced to 33 years imprisonment, with a minimum of 9 years without parole. He is serving his sentence at the Lovelock Correctional Center in Lovelock, Nevada. OJ Simpson has now been granted parole, which means he will be a free man as early as October 1st. The disgraced former NFL icon referred to himself as a straight shooter as he wept while begging for his freedom. Pleading for his freedom, a visibly aged Simpson, wearing a blue shirt, said, "I am sorry things turned out the way they did. I had no intention to cause a crime. I just want to get back to my family and friends. I thought I was a good guy. I've had a few problems with fidelity, but I've always thought I've been pretty good with people, and I've spent a conflict-free life. I'm a pretty straight shooter. I've always tried to be a good soldier. I have no problem." A state parole board set Sunday, October 1st as the date Simpson became eligible for parole, and he left prison on that day. Now released, he will be supervised by the State Division of Parole and Probation until September 29, 2022. OJ Simpson is granted parole by the state of Nevada after serving 9 years. Most read in world news: terror in Canada, cop stabbed by man with ISIS flag as hire truck plows into pedestrians. Horror in France, knifeman stabs 2 women to death before being shot in Marseille on the brink. Monarch quadruples cost of its flights hours before going bust. Sickening pimp secret model lured girls to Playboy Mansion to have orgies with Hugh Hefner. Hiv tie some Hugh Hefner leaves his wife £3. 7 meters fortune and £5. 2 meters mansion. Despite prenup, the Lynx effect man woken by eerie scratching outside his home gets an adorable surprise.